Husband just told me he wants a divorce. So lost. GA. Hello all. Apologies if this is confusing. I'm still very raw right now. An hour ago, I checked my phone on my lunch break and there was a text from my husband that said that we weren't working out and he had to give up on us. He hasn't answered any of my calls and texts. I told my work I had a personal emergency and went home. I feel completely blindsided and heartbroken, especially that he chose to do this over text, without even talking to me about it. We haven't had any major problems in the past. I'm 7 months pregnant with our first child. I need advice on what to do. When I got home, all his stuff was still here, so I can only assume he's intending to stay. Legally, what steps should I take? Can I take our car to my parents' house or do I have to leave it here? What happens with custody if I have the baby in another state? Do I have to let him into the hospital room? What am I allowed to take with me from the house? Any advice is much appreciated. Thank you all. XX. Today I fucked up by texting my pregnant wife that this isn't working. My wife posted earlier today on LA about this. Not using my main because my father-in-law knows it and I'm not quite ready to tell him about this. I went to work today and turned my phone off as usual. I had almost 30 missed texts and calls from my pregnant wife when I turned it on. Most of them were asking how I could do this. I had no clue what she was talking about. She didn't answer any of my calls back. I got home and she was packing up to leave. I'll admit it, I cried. A lot. Had no clue what was happening or what I did. Finally, it comes out that I texted her that I wanted a divorce. She showed me the text and I immediately realized what happened. This morning, a freestanding mirror for our bedroom was delivered. I texted her the new mirror came in. I'm going to try to put it together but I may need your help later. I had trouble putting it together and eventually gave up. I texted her, this isn't working, and at this point I think I need to just give up. Apparently, the first text didn't go through, just the second one. So my pregnant wife panicked for a few hours while I was off thinking everything was great. She even called a divorce lawyer. Things are fine now but she's still crying off and on. She told me we can laugh about it tomorrow. TLDR accidentally told my wife that things weren't working. She almost left me. Edit. Wow, this blew up. To address a few things that came up in the comments. I usually work from home unless I need to meet with clients. I don't always tell my wife when my client meetings are. Because she's usually at work anyway. That's why she didn't know I was at work yesterday. I'm not allowed to have my phone on at work until my wife is 30 weeks. If my phone goes off, I could lose my job and our health insurance. My wife has an anxiety disorder and had to stop taking her meds because of the pregnancy. That's why she had the reaction she did. My comment about my wife being forgiving was a joke. Neither of us is mad at the other. This was just a series of misunderstandings that snowballed. We're fine. I posted this so people could laugh at our misfortune. No need to psychoanalyze my wife or PM me about divorce. We are fine. And no, we haven't put the mirror together yet. We weren't really in a home improvement mood last night. Here is the wife's edit. Edit. I want to thank everyone who responded to my post. It was so helpful to have some clarity in that moment, though it ended up not being necessary. I was packing the car with clothes and such for the baby and me and my husband started calling me over and over, but I didn't answer because I was so upset. He came home and saw me packing the car and he started crying and asking what he did wrong. I kind of blew up at him because he had sent me a text saying he wanted to divorce. He told me he did not send any sort of text like that and asked to see the message. He looked at it, told me to hang on, and went to get his computer. The text he had sent me said this isn't working, and at this point I think I need to just give up. There was a first text that he had sent from his laptop that we discovered didn't go through. It said the new mirror came in. I'm going to try to put it together but I may need your help later. So as it turns out, I'm not getting divorced and I'll probably be able to laugh about it when the pregnancy hormones let me stop crying. My husband helped me unpack the car and now he's out getting me Thai food, so there's a happy ending. Again, thank you all for your kind responses. I'm glad I didn't need them. XX. This is sitcom levels of misunderstanding. Congratulations, lol. Every single episode of Three's Company. Pregnancy hormones are a bitch. I once cried because apple juice was 30 cents more expensive than I had budgeted. Wife and I were in the grocery store. She was drinking some coffee. She handed the cup to me to finish off the last little bit. I take the coffee. You sure? Yay, I'm done with it. Okay, proceed to finish the coffee. Wife starts crying that I finished the coffee. It's preparing you for having a toddler. Source: my toddler cried today because he didn't have any Cheerios on his plate, then cried because I put Cheerios on his plate. He just wanted one. When my wife was pregnant, I brought home KFC for dinner one night. She pulls out mashed potatoes and gravy from the bag, starts bawling and saying, "You know I hate gravy. Why would you ruin my dinner, Dart?" I reach in the bag and pull out her mashed potatoes with no gravy. Even though I had her food right, that train had already left the station and there was no turning back. She goes to the bedroom and lays in the bed to cry. She did not eat dinner. Pregnancy hormones are no joke. I think my uterus just ran away. Yeah, I think I'm gonna adopt Mayo. I cried once while pregnant because the soda fountain was out of Coke and my husband brought me a bottle instead. I was so disappointed and so grateful. I laughed. I cried. I peed a little. Username matches up. My girlfriend, who I am living with, sent me a text saying, "When you get home, I have to talk to you." All she wanted to say was the hot water wasn't working. I tell you what, I was stressing so hard at work till I got the time to call her. Some context and details. We have been dating for 3 years at that point and living together for at least 2, so it wouldn't have been the "we need a break" chat. She is just bad at text messages. But there is an underlying feeling when you have had 6 breakups with other girls in the past, where she has left you, that will put you into panic mode when something like that is said. It was an easy fix as well. The breaker was tripped, so she just needed to turn it back on. Reply with "we surely do" to set her back on my edge to for maximal performance. I once told my husband that he obviously wasn't ready to be a father and I didn't know if I wanted to be with someone who didn't care at my needs. He had brought home boneless KFC rather than regular KFC when I was 4 months pregnant. Don't worry. It's temporary. Today I fucked up by chilling at my friend's place while she wasn't home. My friend Jenna moved into a nice, new condo last month and I finally got a chance to check it out for the first time today. I ended up arriving before she got home from work, so she told me to let myself in with the spare key under the potted plant and to make myself comfortable. I made myself a sandwich and was meandering around eating and checking out her swanky new place when the front door opened and a really large and unfamiliar man with a duffel bag came in. Dude was intimidating and I'm a 4'11" woman, so I was immediately scared. He looked shocked to see me. I'm looking at his duffel bag and realizing that I surprised some piece of shit burglar. I panicked and threw my sandwich at his face and then locked myself in the bedroom. I'm shaking and he pounds on the door yelling at me to get the fuck out. I start screaming at him to get the fuck out and that I'm calling the police. Total bluff because I didn't have my phone. He then yells back that he is calling the police on me. This gives me pause. At this point, I look around and realize the bedroom I'm in definitely appears to be of the male persuasion. I ask him through the door if he knows Jenna, last name. He tells me yes, she is his next door neighbor. Well, apparently, Jenna's neighbor also keeps a spare key under a potted plant. So, today I fucked up by letting myself into my friend's neighbor's place, smacking him in the face with his own sandwich and then screaming at him to get the fuck out of his house. TLDR, today I fucked up by wasting a sandwich. This story gets better if you date each other. No pressure. AWW, you're such a cute couple. How did you meet? Well, it all started when she broke into my apartment and threw a sandwich at me. Bro, you're telling me you got home and a woman was waiting for you with a sandwich? I've dreamed of this. Yeah, but then she threw it at me, so it wasn't so cool. It's called express delivery and I for one would pay extra for that. How did he react after an explanation and what kind of sandwich was it? He was actually really cool about it. I explained everything and apologized profusely and cleaned up the sandwich. pastrami on rye. After he had calmed down and realized I wasn't a crazy lady, he found it pretty funny and wasn't mad. We were outside in the area between their condos when Jenna came home. We told her the story and she was cracking up. I suggested they find better places for their spare keys because that is apparently a really common spot, and next time I might not be around to throw a sandwich at a burglar. They shouldn't find better spots for the spare keys. They should just use each other's plant pots so the person trying to break in would have to know to use the other door.